This is your final warning, there will be spoilers. I wanted to make this video for a while, ever since I've seen Star Wars Force Awakens, obviously, because I was just so disappointed in the story. I mean, obviously it was a great movie. It's got all the beautiful effects and some of the beautiful characters, but the story itself is just completely ridiculous. And I'm very surprised that J.J. Abrams would have let this happen, or even have written it himself, possibly, according to the credits, because I have some respect for him. He made the Star Trek movies, which were relatively nice, and he's made the movie Super 8, which I really found quite impressive at the time. Not sure if I'd still like it though, but yeah. Anyways, it is very disappointing that he's made this ridiculous fanfiction like story that has been turned into the Star Wars Force Awakens, because it makes no sense in any way. For example, Han Solo is in it, right? He's had children with Leia, and he's grown so much since then, yet his character has not evolved in the slightest, because he still owes everyone money. He still owes. Even two different factions of the Space Mafia still want him dead because of all the money he owes them. Just the only thing that he's gotten rid of is Jabba the Hutt. I'm surprised he hasn't shown up as a Force ghost to haunt him as well for the money, right? Han Solo is still up to his old tricks and not any different. He would have had no plan at all to survive, in fact, other than the Jedi showing up, the Jedi protagonists to save him like usual, showing up and killing the bad guys, just like last time. He had no plan in the works to save himself from certain deaths by the Mafia. And that's quite a tragedy, because he's basically all that we have left from the old Star Wars movies. Other than Luke, who only shows up towards the end, and not really even. I don't even know. The whole Luke thing is just a complete clickbait. The fact that he was in the trailers, possibly, or just mentioned it. He was mentioned, right? And he doesn't show up until the very end. What's up with that? So anyways, I'm disappointed in this. I wish they had brought back the Force Ghosts that they had. I mean, those were the interesting characters. Han Solo, I'm not very interested in. He only cares about himself, supposedly, or if he does, he's not very dedicated to the rebellion or the destruction of the Empire at all. Chewbacca still follows him around as well, despite the fact that Chewbacca is actually 300 space years old, and he's actually learned from the Jedi Master Yoda, just like Luke has. He's still pretty much the laptop of Han Solo, and none of them have improved in any way from their previous shortcomings as leaders of the rebellion, or taking that role even. So they basically just still going around doing absolutely nothing that could benefit anyone. Smuggling some highly dangerous alien creatures as well. What's up with that? I mean, who's going to benefit from that? Are they going to put that in a zoo, or are they going to put it into a gladiatory arena like we've seen previously in almost any of the Star Wars movies, run by Jabba the Hutt? Well, I guess now that he's gone, maybe it's the zoos and the research facilities instead, but who knows. Yes, it would have been very nice to see Obi-Wan return. I might have even liked the Obi-Wan from the prequels. That would have been a nice touch to see him as a character in Force Awakens. I would have been. I think it would have been a far better movie if in fact the Emperor had also come back. The Emperor was definitely one of my favorite characters. He is just so good. Just such a beautiful character. In my vision, it would have been very nice if there was some kind of showdown between the Emperor ghost and the other ghosts of Jedi, trying to infiltrate the minds of people and leading them to do their bidding. That would have been a movie I would love if that was the case. I mean, we could still have the woman and the black stormtrooper and the glorious pilot, right? And they would just be they would just be contacted briefly by these force ghosts, using all their power just to briefly appear before the heroes and guide them. That would have been a nice touch. I don't see how Han Solo is now the sage of the Star Wars Force Awakens. He's not the most powerful character there is. And the Force Ghost, they even still existed in the very last episode of the original trilogy, and it's too bad that they've done nothing with those, because those were definitely better characters than Han Solo and Kylo Ren, right? Oh yes, some Darth Vader trying to persuade Kylo Ren to not be evil anymore. That would have been something. Very disappointing. Or also maybe instead of creating another pointless Death Star that is even bigger than previously, they should have made multiple Death Stars. That would have been something. I mean, obviously this new Death Star took 3 times the amount of resources, right? So why didn't they just make 3 Death Stars that can't be all blown up at the same time? Now that would be something powerful, right? A force to be reckoned with, 3 Death Stars that are in 3 unknown positions, ready to destroy everyone. Or better yet, why don't they just fuck off with the entire Death Star theme and just try to build different devices, like a brainwashing device where they could turn their enemies into spies for them, and then have these spies. Maybe that would have been cool if Han Solo, instead of dying, had become a spy for them, and then he would be evil. That would be something that would be along the lines of the old Star Wars. Just like Anakin. Yes, if he could have turned evil, this could have all been better. If you look at the old Star Wars movies, for example, they were working with what they had, right? There wasn't fancy 3D effects or anything. I mean, there were, but not amazingly. So what they came up with was a giant sphere that shoots giant lasers, right? That was what they could do. That was their thing. That's literally the best that they could do, a sphere that fires lasers, because 3D effects were inexistent. But now, how is that still what happens? How is that still what the Empire does? A sphere that shoots lasers? Really? Just so disappointing. Anyways, as I said, everyone is extremely incompetent. The Empire is run by Snoke, but not really, because all he does is tell his incompetent minions to... I mean, his 2 incompetent minions. There's the general, and then there's Kylo Ren, and they're both just prepubescent boys that don't do anything right. They're just extremely unskilled at what they do. Not trained in the Jedi arts, and definitely not trained as a general should be. And they're basically in charge of the entire operation. And what's even worse is that Han Solo is apparently the one who's in charge of our hero troop, right? And what he does is go into a bar full of bounty hunters with the robot that has the hugest bounty on his head that any robot has ever had. It goes into a bar of bounty hunters, and then obviously the Empire shows up, right? Because at least they can get that one right. They can still hire bounty hunters to do their job. So yeah, Han Solo, right? He's like the least competent one. And then the way they destroy that Death Star is by going through the shield using light speed. You can go through a shield using light speed. Are you serious? That's really all it takes, right? And Han Solo, in fact, is the one who comes up with this strategy to just go through the shield using light speed. I don't even know how this has made it into any movie. Did they not realize that they could basically just use a ship, put a bomb on it, and fly it into the Death Star at light speed, right? They didn't need to go in there themselves. They didn't need to have a Jedi force fight with lightsabers, considering they could have just used a bomb ship. Could have just used a bomb ship and shot it right through the shield. Because the shield generator was hidden, so they had to go through the shield, and that's how they did it. By going at light speed. And crashing their ship almost into the Death Star. But if their ship had been loaded with explosives instead of people, then it would have been just as effective, really. What a tragedy that this is what they came up with. Oh well. And the thing with the Luke showing up just at the end, that's the same thing as the dragon showing up in the last moments of the of the Hobbit movie too, right? I wonder what will happen next. I wonder if this trilogy is going to make it all better somehow. But I don't know, man. It's so odd that they chose to make it this way. That they chose to embrace this fan fiction theory that they had and just build another Death Star and blow it up. Very disappointed. Oh well, can't wait for the new one though. Well, actually, I can't wait. I don't even mind that it was delayed for half a year. Maybe they'll finally write a good story for it that time, without any characters floating around being silly. Should be relatively easy, right? I mean, it couldn't get any worse than the story they had in Force Awakens. So I guess I remain optimistic towards the future of Star Wars. Even though, on the other hand, the fact that this ridiculous success that Force Awakens had, just by ripping off the story of New Dawn and making it worse by making it weirder, I hope this isn't going to be a trend. If you look at Star Wars, what's the major flaw they had, right? Obviously it's that they had the Death Star story twice, so they picked it up again and made it a third time. Yes, way to not improve. Oh well, sorry about this rant. I could have improved on the formula, couldn't I? Well, subscribe for more opinions. Goodbye.